In the village of Mumbwen, nestled between rolling hills and a wide river, there lived an elder named Kofi Amankwa. Kofi was a man of great wisdom and integrity, respected by all for his fairness in settling disputes. At 62, his voice carried weight, and his presence alone could silence a quarrel. Kofi's wife, Abena, was 20 years his junior, a striking woman known for her beauty and grace. She was the envy of many women and the silent admiration of many men. Kofi often said she was his greatest blessing, a gift from the gods for a life lived with honor. Together they had raised 3 children, all now grown and living in distant towns. In Mumbwen, disputes were not taken to courts but to the elders. It was Kofi who presided over matters of land, marriage, and wrongdoing. He was known for his calm demeanor, his ability to listen, and his knack for finding solutions that satisfied all parties. But even a man as wise as Kofi was not immune to the trials of the heart. One evening, as the village prepared for the Yam festival, Kofi noticed a subtle change in Abena. She seemed distracted, her laughter less frequent, her gaze often distant. When he asked if anything was wrong, she would shake her head and smile, but the smile never reached her eyes. The villagers, too, began to whisper. It was at the market that Kofi first heard the murmurs. "Have you seen how close Abena and Kwame, the blacksmith, have become?" An old woman asked her companion as they bargained over cassava. Kwame was a young man, strong and charismatic, who had returned to the village recently after years of learning his trade in the city. He was known for his skill at the forge and his charm, which many women found irresistible. Kofi dismissed the rumors at first, unwilling to believe them. Days turned into weeks, and the whispers grew louder. Kofi noticed small things that gnawed at him: a new bracelet on Abena's wrist, gifts of yams and fish that she claimed were from the market, but seemed too plentiful to be mere purchases. One night, he woke to find her side of the bed empty. She returned an hour later, claiming she had gone to fetch water from the river, but her explanation felt hollow. Kofi decided to act. Calling on his closest friend, Nana Ebo, he shared his suspicions. Nana Ebo, a man known for his pragmatism, advised caution. "Do not accuse her without proof, Kofi. A man in your position must tread carefully. If you are wrong, you will shame yourself. But if you are right..." His voice trailed off, leaving the implications clear. The next day, Kofi approached a young boy named Kojo, who often ran errands for the villagers. Handing the boy a small pouch of coins, he instructed him to quietly observe Abena's movements and report back. Kojo returned 2 days later with a nervous look. "Elder Kofi, I saw her at Kwame's forge yesterday. She stayed there long after the other customers had left." Kofi's heart sank, but he kept his composure. He needed more evidence before confronting Abena. That night, he pretended to leave for a meeting with the other elders, but instead hid in the shadows near Kwame's forge. What he saw confirmed his worst fears. By the dim light of the forge, he saw Abena and Kwame standing close, their voices low, their gestures intimate. The next morning, Kofi called a council meeting. He chose not to reveal his personal involvement, instead framing the matter as a moral issue affecting the community. "It has come to my attention," he began, "that inappropriate relations are occurring between married women and certain men in this village. Such behavior dishonors our ancestors and weakens the bonds of trust in our community." The villagers listened intently, but Kofi noticed Abena shifting uncomfortably. Her eyes darted to Kwame, who avoided her gaze. Later that evening, Kofi confronted Abena in the privacy of their home. "I know about you and Kwame," he said, his voice steady but cold. Abena's eyes filled with tears. She tried to deny it, but Kofi silenced her with a raised hand. "Do not insult me with lies. I saw you with my own eyes." Abena broke down, confessing to her feelings for Kwame, but insisting it had never gone beyond stolen moments and conversations. Kofi felt a storm of emotions: anger, betrayal, and a deep, aching sadness. In the days that followed, Kofi withdrew from public life. The villagers noticed his absence and speculated about the cause. Meanwhile, Abena moved to her brother's house in a neighboring village, leaving Kofi alone. Months passed, and the Yam festival came again. This time, Kofi stood before the village, his voice carrying the weight of his experience. "Even the wisest among us can be humbled by the trials of life," he said, "but it is in forgiveness that we find strength." To the astonishment of all, Kofi announced that he had forgiven Abena and invited her to return home. She did so, humbled and repentant. The story of Kofi and Abena became a lesson for the village, a reminder of the importance of trust, the pain of betrayal, and the healing power of forgiveness. And though the scars of their experience remained, Kofi and Abena worked to rebuild their bond, proving that even the deepest wounds could mend with time and effort.